Richard Wright was born near Natchez in 1908, and through such indelible works as Black Boy, Native Son, and Uncle Tom's Children, became one of the most significant writers of the 20th century. The Natchez Literary and Cinema Celebration was founded in 1990 to celebrate the state's literature, history, film, and culture. In 1994, the NLCC established the Richard Wright Literary Excellence Award to honor outstanding living writers with a strong Mississippi connection. Mississippi boasts an embarrassment of riches in writers, and previous Wright Award recipients include Jesmond Ward, Richard Ford, Eudora Welty, James Meredith, and Natasha Trethewey. I'm Chris Goodwin, chair of the Richard Wright Award Committee, and it is my honor and privilege to present the 2021 Richard Wright Award to Dr. Alferdteen Harrison. Alferdteen Harrison has dedicated herself to preserving the voices of people who might otherwise be lost to history. In the books she has written or edited, such as her groundbreaking 1977 History of the Most Worshipful Stringer Grand Lodge, or 1992's Black Exodus, The Great Migration from the American South, to 2006's Piney Woods School, An Oral History, Dr. Harrison has captured stories of adversity, perseverance, heartbreak, and triumph. With a determination not to overlook any aspects of the Mississippi story, Alferdteen Harrison has given voice to all those people determined to make a way through this world for themselves and to make the world a better place for future generations. Even though we honor Dr. Harrison today for her literary contributions to Mississippi, I cannot leave unmentioned the lasting work she has done on other cultural fronts, especially since in these two instances, they reveal important connections to this award. When poet, novelist, and Richard Wright Award winner Margaret Walker retired from the institute she founded at Jackson State College, Dr. Harrison took over. She led the transformation of the institute into a vibrant research center named in honor of Margaret Walker that houses the papers of Margaret Walker and other influential Black leaders. When Jackson's first public school for African Americans, Smith Robertson School, was slated for demolition, Dr. Harrison organized community members whose efforts not only saved the site, but led to its current use as a museum that tells the story of Black life in the city and of the school's history, including its most famous graduate, Richard Wright. I can think of no one more fitting to receive the 2021 Richard Wright Award. Dr. Harrison, will you say a few words?
Thank you, Presiding Officer Chris Goodwin. To the officiating officers, volunteers, visitors, and colleagues, we are blessed by our Creator to be here today. I'm especially glad to be here to receive this Natchez Literary and Cinema Celebration 2021 Richard Nathaniel Wright Award. We know that there were many other choices which the awards committee could have made, but this committee chose me. Thank you. Friends and colleagues, I never expected such an honor, and especially not one named for the Richard Wright, whose longest stint in formal education was spent at Smith Robertson Elementary School right here in Jackson, and then a few months over at Lanier. Wright's body of literary work is often cited by literary critics for helping to change U.S. race relations in the mid of the 1960s. His influence was that and more as it relates to systemic racism. As you have heard, I am the president of the Scott Ford, Inc., a Mississippi landmark that where our goal is to interpret the story of the Mississippi African American as it relates to the midwives, granny midwives, that were exemplified in the Kellogg Foundation grant that we have pursued. It will be the intellectual summation of more than 50 years of my efforts to impact systemic racism in archival, museum, and the historically built environments. For me, it all started because of the overt student activities in the 1960s and the increasing numbers of African American students at white universities, but also at black institutions as well, where too often we did not find books, archival collections, or museum exhibits, nor designated built environments about ourselves. At the University of Kansas, as a history PhD teaching assistant, I was put in a position to respond while creating and teaching an African American Studies class. My response included the Tuskegee University sociologist Monroe Nathan Wright. I'm sorry, that's Monroe Nathan Work, W-O-R-K, who was founder of the Department of Records and Research in 1908. Later, he wrote the Negro Yearbook, a bibliography of the Negro in Africa and in America. So with my Black Studies students, we became the Monroe Work of the University of Kansas. My students were encouraged to write the histories of their communities that they claimed nobody knew about. Anyway, they collected documents and conducted oral histories with senior citizens, including their families. Their collected information was graded and taken to the KU Spencer Library Special Collection Department. Today, these are the foundation for KU's African American Kansas History Collection. In the honor of the Tuskegee, Mr. Work. Also, most of my collected body of published works, plus the collection of oral histories and other archival related documents, are stored at the JSU Margaret Walker Center so that scholars may access and use them. Equally as important is the historically built environments, as in the restoration of Eyre Hall and the Ferris Street Historic District, including the Scott Ford houses. Next, I must mention working with my mentor, Margaret Walker Alexander. First, we secured the donation of her papers to Jackson State University. Then we decided that that I would provide the documentary context for understanding 20th century African American peoples that she claimed in her literary works, especially the poem For My People. So who were those people? She described them, but what does the record say? The book of poems also, the same fits for This Is My Century. So in addition to working with Margaret Walker to donate her papers to Jackson State University, my academic role was to collect the archival papers of other 20th century personalities and to supplement them with the collection of oral histories. So during my retirement, I have continued to work toward that goal of supplementing traditional research by capturing family oral tradition about granny midwives discussed in Jubilee. Under a collaborative agreement with the Margaret Walker Center, these additional interviews are accessioned and stored for future users at the Margaret Walker Center, where Margaret Walker's papers, like her journals, provide insight into her mindset prior to the publication of the renowned poem For My People. They were the people Richard Wright wrote about in Black Boy and other books. To sum up the direction and my motivation of the past years, I think today I would say the following. I wanted to find the documents, the words, the thoughts, and actions of the actual people, like the granny midwife Virginia Scott Ford, who built and lived at 136 and 138 East Cohee Street, the oldest extant set of homes in the Ferris Street Historic District. My final point that has been consistent for more than 50 years is the need to save not only archival resources, museum artifacts, but select examples of the built environment so that all people will know that after slavery and during Jim Crow, African Americans built and lived in and participated in wholesome family and community life. So thank you for this award and the opportunity to say thanks. I shall always treasure this award.
First established in 2009, the Thad Cochran Humanities Achievement Award honors the late Senator Thad Cochran for his support and tireless efforts on behalf of the humanities in Mississippi. Senator Cochran was a driving force in supporting of the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Mississippi Humanities Council, and the Mississippi Arts Commission. He was also instrumental in the success of the Natchez Literary and Cinema Celebration since its inception and was an active member of the NLCC Steering Committee. This award continues to honor him not only for his support of the humanities, but also for his lifetime of public service to Mississippi and our country. Each year, the co-chairman and the awards committee choose a worthy candidate from the state of Mississippi who, like Senator Cochran, has dedicated years of time and talent to the field of humanities in Mississippi and the surrounding region. Traditionally, this award is presented publicly at the Natchez Literary and Cinema Celebration. It is my great honor this year to recognize Dr. Billy D. Thames as this year's recipient of the Thad Cochran Humanities Achievement Award. Dr. Thames served as president of Copiah Lincoln Community College for 29 years until his retirement in 1997. He is the longest serving president in the history of Co-Lin, after becoming president at only 34 years of age. Dr. Thames was a graduate of Copiah Lincoln Junior College in 1954, when he was selected for the very first Student Hall of Fame. After serving 2 years in the United States Army, he received his bachelor's degree from the University of Southern Mississippi in 1958, and then went on to earn both his master's and his doctorate from USM. Dr. Thames began his career in education at Jackson Public Schools in 1959 as a coach, teacher, and counselor, and then served as principal of the McAdams Attendance Center for 1 year before becoming director of admissions at Belhaven College. Upon becoming president of Co-Lin in 1968, Dr. Thames launched a campaign that would triple enrollment over the years, as well as expand programs that served the entire college district. In 1972, Dr. Thames and the Adams County officials established a second campus of Co-Lin in Natchez. Under his leadership, the college also saw the establishment of the Co-Lin Foundation and the Division of Student Services, library facilities, math and reading labs, and the Associate Degree Nursing Program. During his presidency, the Wesson campus saw 14 new buildings constructed and 14 additional buildings renovated. Dr. Thames was one of the state's most progressive college presidents, and Co-Lin achieved many firsts under his leadership. Dr. Thames has received numerous honors over the years, including the Service to Humanity Award from Mississippi College, Co-Lin's Alumnus of the Year, and the Michael O. Bennett Lifetime Achievement Award from Phi Theta Kappa. He was inducted into the Co-Lin Foundation Hall of Fame, served as chairman of the Mississippi Humanities Council, served as president of the Mississippi Association of Colleges and the Mississippi Association of Community and Junior Colleges. And in 2000, Co-Lin dedicated the Thames Conference Center in honor of him. Dr. Thames was also crucial to the beginning of the Natchez Literary and Cinema Celebration, which began in 1990. He helped the co-founder, Carolyn Vance Smith, turn the idea of the NLCC into the conference that it is today. by introducing her to MHC Director Dr. Cora Norman. Dr. Thames played a key role in obtaining that first grant and also subsequent annual grants. And he was in the front row of each NLCC while he was president of COLIN and was a charter member of the NLCC Advisory Board. Although he is retired, technically he continues to be an active member of his community and his church. So I hope you will all join me in congratulating our 2021 recipient of the Thad Cochran Humanities Achievement Award, Dr. Billy B. Thames.
Thank you, Dr. Rockoff. You know, it's a real honor for me to be here this morning and to have been selected as recipient of the Thad Cochran Literary Award. I have known I knew Senator Cochran for many, many years, and he did a great job not only in the humanities but for Mississippi. While I was on the Humanities Council of Mississippi, we received our first grant for the National Endowment for Humanities. And then we began to recognize just how important the National Endowment was for Mississippi, not only for the literary celebration, but also for all the other programs that we had in Mississippi at the time. Senator Cochran was, as stated earlier, was one of the real stalwarts, or the person that really was a driving force behind the National Endowment for Humanities. And it's probably, he was the man responsible for it, not only for Mississippi, but for the United States. I would like to mention a couple of other people that I have known through the years who've done a great job for us in Mississippi. But you know, when I look back and think about those early years, I think about Cora Norman, the late Dr. Cora Norman. The fact of it is, she passed away this past month. Dr. Norman and I traveled an awful lot around the United States and to Washington and New York and other places promoting the humanities. And she was a great lady. In 1972, she started the Mississippi Humanities Council, I believe in Oxford, and it moved to Jackson, and for many years until her retirement in 1990, I'm not sure about the year, 1996, she was director of the Humanities Council. She did a great job. And then she was succeeded by Barbara Carpenter. And we go down the line till we get to Dr. Rockoff, who came from Texas here. And we've made a pretty good Southerner out of him, so we're glad to have him. You know, I think about the late Governor William Winter. We did a report, filming on him earlier this month, Dr. Garner and I. But I have known Governor Winter for many, many years, and he was a real stalwart, and he was director of proceedings for this event from 1990 to, I guess, 2015, when his health just got to the point that he couldn't go. And of course, Governor Winter, as you know, passed away recently, and we're going to miss him in Mississippi. He did so many wonderful things for us in this state. I'd also like to think about one other person, and that's Carolyn Vance Smith. Carolyn was a person that was on our staff at Capella Lincoln in Natchez, and she came to me with the idea of the Natchez Literary Celebration then. It's Natchez Literary and Cinema Celebration now. And our board approved that, and we put that in along with the help of Archives and History and a number of other organizations in Mississippi. And I have to say, from the very beginning, that program was an award-winning program, and the State Humanities Council did a great job in supporting us. This has been an award-winning program from its inception. And today, this kind of climax for me, a long experience and opportunity with the Humanities Council. And I want to express my appreciation not only to Dr. Rockoff, but also to the State Humanities Board. And there's so many people serving on that board that's been there, and a lot of people who have served through the years, and I commend them for their efforts. Above all this board, I want to thank the Cochran family and Humanities Council for this award. Thank you so very much.